Many international surveys show that there is a big demand for people who are competent at solving complex real life problems. So, the aim of this presentation has been to help you to improve your problem solving skills and by so doing, help you to become more self confident, more able to cope with stress, and in general, to become more successful in life. We all have gaps in our lives, gaps between where we are now and where we want to be. And these can be in relation to our health, our education, our work, or even relationships with other people. But we refer to them as problems, problems that need to be overcome. The gaps we have in our lives are the difference between our current or actual state and our desired state or goal, which we could also refer to as our aspirations or ambitions. Obviously, without an obstacle, there's no problem. This young lady lives in the valley below and received a text from her mother telling her that she has had a minor stroke and wants her to visit her as soon as possible. She is now on her way to her mother's house, 10 kilometers further up the mountain. Suddenly, as she rounds the next bend, she is confronted by this rockfall that has blocked the road, a serious obstacle. What do you think she should do about it? But what is the difference between relatively simple problems and complex real life problems? Complex real life problems are made up of smaller problems, and they exist within a system that is open to its environment. Consequently, there are many factors or variables that affect real life problems. So it is important that we take a detailed analytical approach as well as a holistic systems approach to solving these types of problems. The approach to solving complex real life problems is summarized by this framework, which consists of steps, the modes of thinking, and the non conscious elements. The steps are presented here in a logical order, but in practice, you will probably repeat some of them. For example, if you're halfway through the steps and find that your information is not correct or that you have defined the problem incorrectly, you will have to go back and repeat some of the steps. I'm now going to comment on each of the steps briefly. I should point out that the elements of the framework are well established. For example, the World Health Organization, that's WHO, applies similar steps in their development programs. And the World Economic Foundation, that's the WEF, has found that all the modes of thinking, or cognitive skills as they call them, are in demand internationally in business. Being aware of a problem is obviously the first step. Perhaps you have a gut feeling that there is a problem, or you might have up to date and accurate information about the key performance areas. Imagine the following situation. The CEO of a tractor manufacturing company in South Africa became aware that the stock of imported gears in the warehouse was very low, and the next delivery of these parts from Germany had not arrived by air. The CEO phoned the managing director of the German company and asked him why he was not supplying the tractor parts. The MD told him that he had been ordered by the German government to stop making the tractor parts and to immediately start making parts for German military vehicles. He added that this was non-negotiable, which was obviously a major problem for the South African tractor company. You will recall that a problem is defined in terms of the problem gap. From the CEO's point of view, the gap was that the 10 tractors were only 50% assembled, and the obstacle was that they could not be completed without the gears from Germany. So, the gap he had to bridge was from 50% to 100% assembled. To be effective, goals should have target dates. So in this scenario, the CEO's goal was to deliver the 10 tractors to the farmers by the end of that month. He and his top team had many brainstorming sessions, and assessed several promising alternative solutions, such as arranging for local engineering companies to manufacture the parts, buying second-hand parts from other countries, and asking the South African government to intervene diplomatically with the German government. After a week of investigating these ideas, the team concluded that none of them would work. However, early one morning, the CEO suddenly had another idea and phoned a mechanical engineer he knew who worked for a large manufacturer of military equipment in South Africa. The engineer told him they had spare capacity and could make the 10 gears he required, but they would be expensive. To cut a long story short, the CEO ordered the gears from the South African Defence Company, and he and his management team decided to buy their own machinery to make tractor gears in future. A schedule was drawn up for the manufacture and delivery of the 10 gears, and a plan was drawn up to start their own gear manufacturing operation. The result was that the 10 tractors were assembled and delivered to the farmers who had ordered them, although it was 2 months later than had been promised. For the following months, the CEO spent most of his time monitoring and evaluating their progress on setting up the gear manufacturing operation. Major modifications had to be made to the existing buildings to house the new computer operated machinery. I am now going to discuss the 5 modes of thinking. Critical thinking is fundamental to problem solving, as it applies throughout the process until the problem has been successfully solved. The main aspects of this mode are that it is based on objective, evidence-based information and does not rely on emotions, feelings, assumptions, and false beliefs. It is up to the people involved in solving the problem to question all the information they have in a logical way and make sure they are working on justifiable facts. Let's assume that a man has a sinus problem and has suffered from severe headaches for over a year. He has, at last, decided to see a doctor about it. The doctor first carries out a physical examination, then decides to find out whether there is a viral, bacterial, or fungal infection involved, so arranges for laboratory tests to be carried out on the patient's blood and mucus. This is a good example of the analytical approach to problem solving, which is also referred to as the reductionist approach, because it reduces the problem to its simplest elements. The lab results are not conclusive, so the doctor questions her patient to find out if there's something in his environment, such as pollen, that could be causing the problem. The doctor is now adopting more of a systems approach, which considers the problem holistically in the context of the system, its subsystems, and its environment. A system is a combination of a set of parts or subsystems, each with inputs, processes, outputs, and goals. They work together using feedback loops to achieve a common goal. For example, your body is a system and the organs in your body are its subsystems. Creativity and innovation are crucial thinking skills when trying to solve complex real life problems. Creative thinking is applied imagination. You have to apply your imagination to create something useful. In the left-hand image, we see a group of people brainstorming to think of as many ideas as they can to solve a problem, while on the right are images of very advanced innovations that are the result of creative problem solving. We all have the ability to think creatively, and we can do this on our own or in groups, collaboratively. Ethics are fairly subjective principles, norms, rules, standards, or ideals that relate to moral aspects such as fairness, equity, truth, honesty, and justice. In general, they have developed to ensure stable and peaceful societies and indicate how we ought to behave towards others. Ethical norms as to what is right or wrong under certain circumstances can vary from country to country, religion to religion, culture to culture, and from time to time. So it is important to consider the norms that are currently relevant to the society in which the problem exists. The non-conscious mind is very complex and consists of many aspects such as our biases, prejudices, belief systems, emotions, intuitions, insights, and perceptions. However, in this short summary, I will deal with emotions, intuitions, and insights because a lot of research has been carried out on these aspects. Research has shown that emotions such as anger, fear, and happiness play a major role in our decision making and problem solving. And this takes place without us being aware of it. It happens non consciously. However, excessive emotions can cloud our decision making, so we should consciously control them to keep a balance between our rational thinking and our emotional states. The ability to maintain this balance is called emotional intelligence. If you have to make an important decision while you are very emotional, rather wait until you can calm down before making the decision and acting on it. Intuition is commonly called gut feeling, a feeling that something is wrong or right, missing, different, or is going to happen. Many people rely on their intuition to make important decisions, but much research, such as that carried out by Daniel Kahneman and his colleagues, has shown that our intuitions are often faulty and we should check them by carrying out objective investigations or research before making such decisions. An insight is a sudden understanding about something that was previously unknown or puzzling, such as the cause of a problem or a solution to a problem. They usually occur after the person has thought through intensely about the issue and often for a long time. It is clear that in such cases, the non-conscious mind has been considering the issue quietly in the background and has managed to join the dots of information successfully. In conclusion, I want to point out that when solving complex real-life problems, the steps, modes of thinking, and the non-conscious elements should be integrated. They should be mixed, much like the ingredients of a cake. Thanks very much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe for more informative videos on this topic.